The legacy my grandma left is clear in this room, and it makes me proud to be a part of the family. My memories of my grandma are many and varied. I grew up in the suburbs, and as my cousins can attest, spent most of my time with my nose in a book. But my times for adventure were at Grandma's house. The sunny meadow, the pond and swamp, the deer in the woods, the cool shadows of the barn. I honestly felt like I was stepping into a history novel every time I visited her. Everything was soaked in tradition and a way of life that a lot of people that I knew weren't familiar with anymore. The attic of the farmhouse was a source of endless fascination to me. As a kid, I thought the size of the attic was the size of a warehouse. It fit all 8 cousins, and clearly it existed for no other reason than for us to explore and discover. And I can't believe that she let us rummage through as many boxes as we did. Cousins dress up and pretend games reached epic and legendary proportions, while the adults downstairs, I don't know, had coffee or did whatever boring things adults did. So Grandma was the keeper of the family's memories, and in a sense, as you've heard, she was the keeper of the family's faith as well. I don't think I ever had a visit with her that didn't include a discussion of the latest sermon she'd listened to. She'd always ask me how my walk with Jesus was going. And when I look at the legacy she left with her family, I'm very encouraged. There's not a single aunt or uncle here that does not mirror my grandmother's generous concern for people. I remember my grandfather's funeral when I was only 15, and I remember being impressed by how many people came. I think that was probably my first, or at least the most impactful impression of how deeply a person can impact a community, even if they never travel outside the county, or very rarely. He was a quiet man with a big heart that affected hundreds of people with his witness and love, and I think my grandmother did the same. I'm also honored to read my brother's tribute. He's working in southern Sudan at the moment and couldn't make it. I think that most of you will recognize his very characteristic style, simultaneously heartfelt and hilarious. It's okay if you laugh, because this is a joyful moment for Grandma as well. So my brother says, "I'm so thankful that Grandma, with her joyful spirit, stayed around for us as long as she did. I was 11 years old when Grandpa died, and though I have fond memories of him, they're not nearly as extensive or complex as the extra 14 years of memories I have of Grandma. I'm greatly blessed to have been able to know Grandma, not just through my eyes as a young child, enamored by the excitement of her farmhouse, but as an adult who could appreciate the profound richness of her full life and her steadfast faith. There are 2 characteristics about Grandma that will always stick out to me when I think of her. The first is her faith. My sister always says that Grandma's missed calling in life was being a preacher. Her life was marinated in scripture, and she wasted no opportunity to bless you with some wisdom she had learned, either through her own life experience or something she learned from the likes of Chuck Swindoll or David Jeremiah. Jesus was her passion, and it undeniably exuded from her. She loved him, and she wanted you to experience the joy of loving him too. Grandma taught me many things about following Jesus and loving him. I'll also remember her uncanny ability to know the name of every person in Dauphin, Lancaster, and Lebanon County and who they are related to. I couldn't mention anyone's name without her telling me they were second cousins of Mary and Dave, and Frank was their father's uncle. As if I was supposed to know who any of those people were.